everyone, and thanks for checking in with us at Funeral Innovations Trends, Tips, and Technology, where we chat with leaders in the profession to discuss marketing trends, business tips, and technology innovation. Plus, we talk about how digital marketing helps you better serve your families. I'm Heather Musieski. I am the Marketing Director here at Funeral Innovations.
And I'm Joey Haas. I'm the Marketing and Design Coordinator at Funeral Innovations.
And today we have two guests with us, both from Funeral Service Foundation. Anthony Guerra, he is also a funeral director at Guerra and Gutierrez Mortuaries in Los Angeles, and Kelly Mannion, she is the Director of Communication at the Funeral Service Foundation. So thanks so much, guys, for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. We are happy to be here.
Yeah. Why don't you start off by telling us a little about yourselves and your role at the foundation?
Go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, all right. As you introduced, my name is Kelly Mannion. I'm the Director of Communication with the Funeral Service Foundation. I've been with the organization for going on 8 years now. And my role is to help engage the funeral service community in the work that we do, to expand our outreach and to let folks know about the good work that we do and how we can serve funeral service and other organizations along the end of life continuum.
Great. And Anthony?
Well, I'm Anthony Guerra from Guerra Gutierrez Mortuaries in Los Angeles, and I am a second generation funeral director. And we serve the greater Los Angeles area from the San Fernando Valley, San Gabriel Valley, Long Beach area, and our flagship being in East Los Angeles. And we serve a little over 2,000 families annually, so we have our hands full.
Very nice. So would you guys mind sharing a little bit about the Funeral Service Foundation's mission and how you guys got started?
Sure. Anthony, do you want me to talk or do you want to go ahead?
Well, let me start and then just come right in. Okay. Above everything else, I'm a funeral director, and it's just been an honor to be on the foundation. The Funeral Service Foundation, it's really headed by Lee Winch, our executive director, Kelly, who's here with us, who's our director of communication, and Heather, our development manager. They are the foundation. They are what makes us tick. They are the foundation, and they just give us all the tools necessary to make us thrive. So we're so grateful for these three ladies. People like me come and go. We're temporary fiduciary stewards of the foundation, making sure the funds are allocated to go to the appropriate organizations we see fit in carrying out our mission. And speaking of our mission, it's investing in people and programs to strengthen funeral service and lift up grieving communities. Will that Kelly just go from there, please?
Sure. So Anthony told you is the mission that we have right now. It's a newer mission. It's a place that we've evolved to. We've actually been around the profession for 75 years. So this year is our 75th anniversary. We started as the National Foundation of Funeral Service in 1945. And have our roots in education and continuing education. And we've identified as the charitable arm of the National Funeral Directors Association since 1997. So the Funeral Service Foundation, that the profession knows it today, has actually been around since about 2002. And we've gone through some rebranding and some evolutions in our mission. And where we've landed right now, we're very excited about, and it's, I think, very relevant for the world that we all live in right now.
That's terrific. Tell us a little bit about what sort of resources you offer funeral homes and the funeral profession in general.
I'll start there, Kelly.
Sure.
Well, Kelly's been, along with staff, very instrumental in quite a bit of initiatives, but one that we're very proud of and what we're doing for our profession is our successful initiative of youth and funerals. That took off really well. And now coming right into the fold, following that, it's also grieving alone and together, and caring for families and caring for yourself, which are tools to help us as funeral directors, but our community as well. So those have been some very successful, I should say. But again, Kelly can elaborate further on that, as she really had a lot to do with all this.
Thanks, Anthony. So the resources that Anthony just talked about, starting with the Youth and Funerals Initiative, we've been offering for about 3 or 4 years now. And it came from a place where we heard funeral directors when we were out at different conventions and, talking with board members and other foundation friends and donors, that there was a real need to have youth involvement in funerals. And so with that initiative, we brought together thought leaders from across the profession. We brought together grief counselors, hospice workers, all sorts of folks to come up with a piece that funeral directors can share with the families they serve that helps those families understand why funerals and memorialization is important in the lives of youth, how to talk to kids about death and dying, and how to incorporate a child in a funeral ritual in a way that feels very meaningful and safe for the children. We have tools, the booklet that we showed you. Folks can order complimentary right on our website. And we also have an ebook version and a complementing video that features Good Grief CEO Joe Primo. And that is a great piece for funeral directors who might not be comfortable having this conversation, and it allows the kids to do the talking. So that's all free on our website, because our donors understand that these resources are what folks need to build strong communities and to lift up grieving communities. So with the success of that piece, as we all started experiencing the pandemic world, it became very clear to us that it was a unique set of circumstances, and there was a lot of complicated grief around that. So we had this piece written by Dr. Sarah Murphy, who's a certified thanatologist, and this piece helps folks understand that they are not alone in grieving in this pandemic. And, it kind of gives them a safe space to really explore what they're feeling, and that it's okay, that what they're feeling is okay, and yes, it is different. And with both of those pieces, we have seen tremendous growth. We have over 1,000 funeral homes using them across the country. We've translated both of these pieces into Spanish. We are in 17 different countries. So we're really seeing a need. And then go ahead, I'm sorry.
No worries. So funeral directors can download these or order them from your website, yes, and then hand them out to families. Absolutely. To help them through this process. Perfect.
Absolutely. Great. Hand them out not only to their families, but also a really altruistic way to build relationships within your communities. You can take these pieces to hospice centers, to schools, to Rotary clubs, to, churches, anywhere where you need to get the word out. These tools are great for everyone. In fact, we're seeing a big surge of hospices and grief centers downloading the tools themselves, because they work for everyone. And everyone has a common goal of sharing or serving families. So they bring everyone together. And the third piece that we actually just launched during the NFDA convention is this piece called Caring for Families and Caring for Yourself. And this is a piece that we commissioned Dr. Alan Wolfelt. Many folks know him. He's a renowned grief expert. And this is a piece specifically for funeral directors to help them understand the importance of self-care and to deal with burnout, because we all know that compassion fatigue is a very, very real thing. And so again, this is a piece that folks can order right on our website. Either individual copies, or if you are a funeral home owner, you can order multiple copies to share with your staff. And we have a complementing poster, a self-care poster that you can post in your common spaces. And we give you a lot of conversation and a lot of prompts to let folks know that it's important to talk about this, and that it's okay, and that you have to care for yourself first before you can best care for a family. And even with that, gosh, we have had more than 600 funeral homes leverage this resource already in just a few weeks. State associations, different schools, and again, some hospice workers. So we're finding it a really useful tool.
Well, and it seems like such a high stress time for everyone, but I think funeral directors are uniquely impacted, and the emotional tenor seems to just be ratcheted up so much higher even than in a normal year. Yeah.
You know, and to that end, within the pages of this, there's actually a quiz where folks can gauge where they feel that they are on that sort of burnout spectrum. And Anthony, I know you and I have had this conversation that many funeral directors, you know, who have been, you know, in the profession for decades are surprised at even what they're feeling. They think they've seen it all, but that this year is hard for everyone. Anthony, do you agree with that?
I'll completely, Heather, and I mean Kelly, and you'd be surprised if you were to take it, and we encourage funeral directors to utilize this resource and take the quiz, and you'll find that you are living the burnout mode and not know it. So it's extremely important that we recognize all these things that are happening around us to take care of ourselves. Yeah, we put families first, but if we don't put ourselves first, we won't be there for our families.
Yeah, that's great. And those sound like just really awesome, relevant resources, especially now. So that's great. And I know you guys talk, you know, leading into the next question, obviously like self-care could be a big challenge for funeral professionals, but I'm curious, like, what do you see are the biggest challenges for funeral professionals? You know, what are they facing today? And have those changed since before the pandemic?
I like to say, as a funeral director meeting with families, it was difficult enough trying to get them to value ceremony, to have some sort of anything religiously speaking, to honor their loved one. And now, because of COVID, the pandemic, we've had to naturally put services off for weeks, sometimes months. So as difficult as it was before, we're finding it a lot harder now to get families weeks and months after the fact, to get other families and relatives and friends to have that final ceremony. So the re-engaging part, that's what we have noticed the most. That as time goes by, these family members have felt forgotten and just not having that proper final, very difficult on everyone. And we could see it in the temperament of families coming in. It's, as we know, it's just been very, very, there are no words to put it. We're all living it, no matter what profession or what we do. So it is hard.
Go ahead, Heather.
Do you have anything to add, Kelly?
You know, I echo what Anthony said, that from the foundation standpoint, what we've seen is, and heard from our donors and, you know, funeral directors, is the importance of memorialization overall, and the importance of acknowledging grief and building relationships within the community. And so that's where the foundation comes in, and everything that we do centers around those themes, whether it's granting to grief-focused organizations, providing resources that we just talked about, or offering educational opportunities from academic scholarships and support all the way up through your entire career.
Gotcha. So can you share how the pandemic impacted your focus at the Funeral Service Foundation, if it did at all? And how were you able to kind of shift to serve the funeral homes? I mean, everybody did a super fast pivot in March. What did that look like for you guys?
Go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, okay. Well, we got right to it. One of the initiatives we have at the Funeral Service Foundation is being able to serve a community in crisis. So whether it's something like Hurricane Katrina or Newtown, or the recent hurricanes that were in Texas a couple years ago, we are able to come together and serve those communities in crisis. So in May, we launched our COVID-19 Crisis Response Fund. And wow, the way the profession came together to support our work and made sure that we had the dollars we needed to go out and help families was, it was overwhelming in a really, really good way. So we, as a profession, raised and granted $530,000 in a matter of about 2 months to different facets. So with that fund, we were able to purchase PPE masks and deliver to funeral directors across the country, especially in hard-hit areas. We were able to create the Grieving Alone and Together guide that we talked about earlier, in conjunction with NFDA's consumer-facing website, rememberingalife.com. We were able to support and provide financial assistance to funeral directors who were volunteering in hard-hit areas. You know, they were able to go in and serve alongside those, you know, those funeral directors in all those ground zero areas, Detroit and New York. And we were able to make grants to 16 grief-focused organizations around the country and in Canada. So it was something we're really, really proud of. And we know we helped a lot of communities, and none of that could have happened without our donors.
Yeah, that's great. And Kelly, you mentioned NFDA. Are you guys connected with NFDA?
We are the charitable arm of the National Funeral Directors Association. So a lot of the work we do is alongside NFDA. So we are here to support NFDA's efforts and their members and all the funeral service.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like you guys did so much for funeral homes and are still, I'm sure, doing so much for them now as we're all kind of continuing to deal with the pandemic. So that's awesome to hear. I wanted to hear a little bit about, like, what does your scholarship program look like? I know you guys help students, and what does that look like, and how do students apply for the scholarship program?
Go ahead, Anthony.
Okay. Well, the Funeral Service Foundation, founded in 1945, the continuing education has been the cornerstone of our existence and what we're all about. We have 3 generations of impact behind us, and we feel careers in funeral service. We like to see the growth of dollar amounts towards quality scholarships, and we're well on our way to doing that. There are just so many things we're really having to mitch right now, but obviously, for obvious reasons, had to be put on hold. For example, we have the Meet the Mentors program, which is huge and very instrumental, and I'm sure I'll let Callie could really elaborate further on that. The Advocacy Summit, which is another new exciting thing we're offering scholarships to. What that is, that's where we all get to go to Washington, D.C. and meet our legislators. And what I really like and excited about that is that it gets a lot of the younger people in our profession in the game. It gets them connected, gets them engaged, because they are the future of who they are going to drive our profession moving forward. And for them to be hands-on with advocacy, how legislation affects our communities, our families, our profession, this is something that's really going to, we hope, to take off. But that's just a tip of what we have to do, what we have to offer scholarship-wise. Kelly?
Sure, and I have to say that as the foundation expands scholarships, a lot of that has to do with Anthony, especially the Advocacy Summit. This was the first year we offered them, and it was Anthony's idea, and he said, we need to get these young people involved in what's going on in DC. And so it's great ideas like his, you know, that allow us to continue to expand. So as Anthony said, we support the Advocacy Summit scholarships. We support scholarships to the NFDA convention. We support scholarships to the NFDA Professional Women's Conference. And we also offer career development awards. Now, all those scholarships that I just talked about are available to all licensed funeral directors. You can be an NFDA member or not an NFDA member. It doesn't matter. We serve all the funeral service, so we encourage everyone to apply for these. Anthony also mentioned that we support Meet the Mentors, which is an NFDA specific program. So if you are an NFDA member and you are a licensed funeral director, age 40 or younger, or have just been newly licensed in the profession in the last 5 years, we encourage you to apply for that. That's a wonderful couple days where we get you in front of the thought leaders and the trailblazers in the profession for a really wonderful hands-on sort of retreat weekend. And we've been supporting that since its inception, since about 2011, and more than 600 professionals have gone through that program. And then in addition to that, the academic scholarship is sort of where it all starts. So we offer scholarships that range from $2,500 all the way up to $5,000. We have 2 cycles a year. Our fall cycle just closed, but we will be opening up that spring cycle again in February. And folks can apply right online, funeralservicefoundation.org, for all of these opportunities.
That's exciting. And so that's for all those are for any licensed funeral director for continuing education, growth and development, that sort of thing. That's great.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Absolutely. And we, what we're so excited to see is folks really engaging with us and applying for one scholarship, and then the next year applying for another, and really seeing the usefulness of this. And that's really helping our growth as we, grow as an organization.
Anthony, can you talk a little bit about how the Funeral Service Foundation is funded and how people can get involved? I know you guys talked about it a little bit, but where does that come from?
It's it's really funded by a lot of ourselves, funeral directors, our funeral directors and our suppliers. I wish there were a better name for suppliers. They're like partners. They could be the people really that supply, the casket companies, insurance companies, things of consultants, things of that nature. So as I mentioned, they're more like partners, and they're very instrumental in our success. Without them, we wouldn't be us. We wouldn't be where we are. We won't be able to grant what we can. It's just such a great impact. It's a team effort is what it comes down to. Gifts of every level from across the profession. There's no such thing as no amount is too little. But to answer your question, without overthinking this, it's funeral directors and our suppliers. They are who fuel our foundation.
Absolutely. And every dollar matters. I'll tell you, when we're at different conventions and we have a funeral director who's been licensed for 6 months come up and they make a $45 gift because they're so happy to have received an academic scholarship a couple years before. That means just as much to us as when an allied professional, steps up and makes $100 gift, or excuse me, $100,000 gift. They all matter. And another way folks can donate to us is with the proceeds of recycling proceeds. So that's another way. Every dollar matters and allows us to do more and more every year.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So if you guys could share, we'd love to hear, what are the goals of the foundation moving forward? Those could be short-term goals or long-term. Obviously with the pandemic, it's kind of, things are shifting and a little bit different, but if you guys could talk about those goals, that'd be great.
I'll start, Kelly.
Sure.
One of the goals, as I alluded to earlier, was granting more quality scholarships, more value, more in abundance, to give our well-deserving people, our college students, more true science program students who really need that chance. And during these times, finances is the issue. But what I'm really excited, it's a new joint venture, another association, well-respected association in our profession. And it's called, it had a different name, but we changed it to A Journey to Serve. And this is pertaining to our military veterans who deserve a lot more, we feel. what we could give to them, what we could offer to them. And that's a position in our profession. So that is something in the works right now. And what it is creating a toolkit, and it's a national marketing campaign for recruiting our military veterans into careers in our funeral service. There are many things going on, but this is one that I really feel good about moving forward, where it could go, and the possibilities and opportunities endless with this one initiative. And working together with the other association, that's huge. I don't think we've ever done anything like this before. So we're really coming together in a big way.
And along with what Anthony said, we just went through strategic planning in tandem with the National Funeral Directors Association. So in addition to growing our relationship and our partnership with NFDA and other associations across the profession, we are looking to really give funeral service a seat at the table along that end-of-life continuum, and bridge relationships between grief centers and hospice, and even hospitals and education, and make sure that we're all working together for the common good. And we're also looking at diversifying our grant making in that arena. So helping even more grief organizations, and really getting our name out within funeral service and beyond.
That's terrific. Great goals. Great. Yeah, that's great what you guys are working on. And I love the idea of drawing military veterans into the profession. I think there's a real need for that. So this is our last question. We ask this question to everybody. What is the biggest lesson you've learned while serving in this profession?
As a funeral director in the mortuary profession, I have found that every family is unique. Every family is an original. Many don't like the restraints of a package when it comes to how they select their funeral service. They like the option of picking and choosing. We're all different. There's something for everyone who wants to enter this profession. You could go to a family-owned firm, you could go to a corporate-owned firm. It's whatever makes you feel comfortable. And with a family-owned firm, we find that families would rather pick and choose and not be stuck to a package. There are just a lot more choices for them. So that's the biggest takeaway I have seen throughout the years in my profession. We've tried a little bit of everything, and ultimately we listen to our families. Sure, there are trends, they come and go, but you always get back to what works, what's successful, what made that respective firm get to where they are today. This is one of those questions that could go on and on and on. So I'll just stick to this one right here for now, but that's what I have found personally.
Thanks, Anthony. Kelly?
And what I've learned really complements what Anthony just said, where every family is unique. I'm not a funeral director, but what I've learned in helping the helpers is that communities grow and thrive, and they often do that because of the folks behind the scenes, like funeral directors, who you may not, see every single day, but they are there serving families when they need it most. And it's because of them that our, communities are healthy and successful.
That's very well said, both of you guys. So those are all the questions we have. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week in Funeral Innovations, Trends, Tips, and Technology. So we'll be posting this video on our blog, on our YouTube channels, and you'll be able to access it on our Facebook feed as well. And we'll be back with another show soon, so make sure to check back in with us. If you have any topics you'd like to see discussed, or anyone you'd like to hear from in an interview, add it in the comments down below. And be sure to check out our 9 ways to share your charitable giving ebook, which will be linked in the description box below. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.